guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, soon to be turned podcast. So today I just wanted to talk about, as you can see in the title, how I owe my son 1,000 apologies, right? I owe my son 1,000 apologies because the mother I am now is not the mother he had when he was still a toddler. Like around about, like they start having a personality when they're what, like 2, 3, 4, right? So the mother I was those years and the mother I am now are two different people, hence the title, I owe my son 1,000 apologies. So in an attempt to not be like our parents, or in an attempt to raise our children better, I think we need to acknowledge the fact that those behaviors are not going to be undone by those behaviors are just not going to be undone by you sitting and hoping, oh, I hope I don't become like my mom, or I hope I don't become like my dad, or whoever it is that raised you at the time, right? You don't sit and hope that you don't become that person. However, you need to actively seek out reasons why you feel like you don't want to become like them. Because I can sit here and say all the things that done happen to me in my childhood, but I would like to say, oh no, but I turned out great. But that's not true. That's not true. And I don't know why. It's like there's an age when you start realizing that no, man, angikho right. Like, I don't know why. Why doesn't that happen, guys, when we're like, I don't know, first year, second year, third year? I don't know. Why don't these things happen when we're those ages? Like, why do they happen in at such important stages in our lives, when we are starting to realize who we are, what we want? And why don't we realize these things sooner? Please tell me. Tell me why. Because then it's like, all my life I wasn't myself. You're telling me that all my life I wasn't myself. Like, all my life I was someone that was molded. Like, I was made to be like this by my mind mostly. I think when you start to do the work, you start realizing that I did, these people did this, and in turn, here's what I then developed. Me and my mind developed these behaviors to protect myself from these people that we shouldn't need protection from. And unfortunately, I would like to say that I knew better at the time, but I didn't know better. And I became the exact thing that I didn't want to become for my children. Well, my child at the time. So now that I'm older, and now that I've had the courage to sit through all the small and big traumas that have happened in my childhood, and having to realize why is it that I do the things that I do in the way that I do them, and why they yield in certain results, I can now safely say that I owe my son apologies, which I do. I do apologize to my son, as and when I feel like I have wronged him, or crossed a boundary, or accused him of something that he hasn't done, or blamed him for things that he did not do. Immediately I realize, or immediately he lets me know that no, actually you were wrong, I apologize, sincerely so. I am not above correction from him, because he knows what makes him feel safe. And for him to come to me and say, hey, you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's not right, means that for now, he still feels safe enough to come and talk to me about things like that. And that is something that I didn't have, right? That's something that I didn't have. I couldn't say to someone, you did my parents, you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is how it made me feel, and I would like it if that does not happen any longer, or I would like it if you approach it in this manner the next time. You are met with no. So every time you try to address something, you're met with no, you're just a child, what do you know? After everything I've done for you, just all of those theatrics, except somebody just sitting down and reflecting and being like, oh, okay, I see how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could have made you feel the way that you feel, right? So then, as a child, grew up to feel, maybe I'm the drama. maybe I just feel too much. So, then growing to become this mother that considers that how your kids feel matter, because how I felt mattered, whether it was acknowledged or not, it mattered, and it shaped the person that I am in terms of trying to avoid conflict, right? Because you never know if somebody's gonna hear you. But funny enough, I've actually realized that in my relationships, in as much as I might have not felt safe to, as much as I have felt I'm not a confrontational person. I'm not a confrontational person, right? However, if I love, honor, and respect the relationship that I have with the person, I will voice out how I feel. And I have come to realize that I don't hold so much back. I don't hold back in terms of communicating how I feel around the people that I share myself with, the people that I share my love with, the people that I have relationships with, no matter the relationship it is. If you and I have a certain level of relationship, if I haven't come to you and said na, then we're probably not that close, and nothing you do or say actually kind of matters to me, right? But then you grow up thinking that in order to sustain relationships, there shouldn't be any disagreements, there shouldn't be any discussions. You shouldn't voice out how somebody made a joke and maybe it wasn't funny to you at the time, or how maybe it rubbed you off a certain way. If somebody raises their voice at you, you kind of have to be like, baby, how about no, go be out there with somebody else. That kind of behavior triggers me. You might not be the reason why I am sensitive to that kind of tone. However, I am sensitive to that kind of tone. And if being around you then makes me uncomfortable almost all the time, then I suppose there's no reason for me to be around you. And that shouldn't be a threat. That is a boundary for you and not for the other person, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's affected and the other person is not affected at all. So in as much as I had felt that not being able to speak up as a child, the thing of children are meant to be seen and not heard, in as much as I'd like to say it has affected me, I realize now that not so much, actually, because I've realized just how vocal I have been about how I feel and how other people's actions make me feel. It's just that in turn, I took the other person's inability or the other person's unwillingness or disinterest in doing better as a reflection that maybe I should communicate better, whereas that should have been an indication that this is not your person. If something that affects me does not nudge you to do better, or does not have an impact on you, the fact that you're hurting me or making me feel uncomfortable, or that whatever it is that you're doing is triggering me, does not have an impact on you, then clearly you're not my person, because people who love us care about how they make us feel, right? And this is in no way putting blame on the person that is doing the thing, because it's unbeknownst to them. They don't know, right? They don't know that you don't like it when people yell, right? Or use a stern tone because of how it makes you feel, that it triggers you. And you can't now, the first time somebody do that, be like, yeah, that's it, I'm cutting you off. It doesn't work like that, right? In relationships, we need to learn about each other, right? As the saying goes, to love me is to know me. If you guys didn't know, I have a TikTok, and I need to change the name. I don't know if I can do that, because when I opened my TikTok, it was just for fun. Like, TikTok was just for fun. And at the time, I was going through a really horrible time. And so all I did was just offload whatever thoughts and feelings I had at the time on that TikTok. And that then happened to grow into this thing where I say quotes that I discover. Some quotes I make up myself. There's some affirmations there as well. And I call it the girl with the quotes, because some of these quotes got me through a really bad time. And a lot of these quotes, you can unpack so much just from a quote, you know. It can also be something that you live by. So my TikTok is at boymom_girlmom. Yes, I need to change it to something more businessy, because that's where it's going at this rate. That's where it's going at this rate. So yes, as the quote says, to love me is to know me, right? And if you love someone, you will take your time to learn what makes them happy. You will take your time to know what triggers them. You will take your time to know what would make this person angry. This person would like this person would not like that. Why can't we do that with our children, right? And it's hard. I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, I'm nailing it. No, but if there's something that I am nailing, is staying regulated, like knowing her, okay, Tiama is triggering me. I might not know, I might not discover on that exact day why I'm triggered, but I certainly know when I'm dysregulated, and when I'm huffing and puffing, and all the child did was just be a child, right? And it will all tie back to the fact that it's triggering me because I feel like I'm never heard, right? I'm never heard. You don't listen to me. And really, Shem, he's just a child. And whatever frustration that I'm feeling at the time is not from this experience, it's from a past experience. So that's why it takes such a long time to actually start doing better, because it's like I don't know what example to use. An onion, it's like an onion. It has layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, and you need to start peeling those layers off one by one, you know, until a certain point where you feel like somebody not listening to you does not put salt on that wound that you already have. Then you will start reacting better, because you understand the situation better. Be like, okay, this is not a Tiama thing, this is a Tsolo thing. This is little me. This is 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 12 years old Tsolo that is screaming at Tiama because Tiama doesn't want to do the thing that Tsolo is asking of him. Right? So things like that, things like letting him dress himself up, or like wear what he wants to wear. Say we want to go to church, and like, put on your sneakers, right? Because we're going to church, you must look representable. Also, that's a parent thing, right? And the child's like, no, like, why can't I wear what I want to wear? And then depending on the environment that you guys are going to, you can be like, you know what, I'm gonna let you be. It's fine, wear whatever you want, as long as it's appropriate for that event. Because now we don't want to teach children that they can do whatever the f they want, right? That's not the principle of this. However, the principle of it should be that, okay, I'm going to trust that you can pick out your own clothes, but bear in mind, where we're going, this is how you should dress, right? So pick whatever you want. You might not pick the exact clothes that I have picked out for you. However, you must look presentable, right? You can't now wear bum shorts when we're going to church. That's not the time and place for that. There's a time and place for you to dress like that, but this place is not the place where we go dressed in bum shorts and our toes out. It's an indoor building, you might get cold. Maybe put on socks if you want to wear your flops, right? Depending on which church you are attending. If it's a more traditional church, then maybe he doesn't want to wear his formal shoes. You can be like, okay, you can wear sneakers. The point of the matter is he's wearing closed shoes, which is what we want, right? You can't wear a, what do you call it, a basketball shirt that is sleeveless. If anything, fine, wear a short sleeve, gay, then your shoulders are covered, and then you can wear your favorite hoodie on top, or you can just throw in a jacket if you feel like you don't want to wear the formal jacket that I have put out for you. Things like that, just letting children be themselves and showing up how they would like to show up. They are not robots. They are not our yes ma'am, no sir. They are also people, and they like to express themselves in different manners that we might be uncomfortable with. But if you being uncomfortable affects nothing else in the environment except your ego or just the way that you see things, like the only thing it's affecting you, it's your perspective of what you think it means when your child does this, or what you think it means when your child says something like that, or what you feel it means, or you're thinking about what other people are gonna think about seeing your child dressed like that, what they're gonna say, then it really is then not an issue, because it's assumptions. You're assuming there's something wrong with what your child is doing or saying, but there is actually nothing. Like, it changes nothing in the world, the fact that your child decided to wear flops and socks to church instead of sneakers or formal shoes. That's just how they want to be dressed at the time, right? It's different to if there's a wedding that you're going to and there's a dress code, then we need to respect other people's themes. Then we wear the theme. If there's a theme, the theme is white, he wants to rock a black shirt, no. We are going to go with the theme. We're going to respect that person's party that they've invited us to, and how we show respect is by being on time and dressing according to the theme. If you don't have the exact thing, then choose the next best thing that you have to what the theme is, so yeah, little things like that. So now, when it comes to apologizing to your child, I think that it's a good thing to teach as well. If you apologize to your children, they will know that apologies happen in this household or in life. It won't be a taboo thing for them to see something wrong with something that they have done or said. And because our children are children, they don't understand that their meltdowns or their tantrums are sometimes uncalled for, right? Like, if you speak to your child in a certain way and you expect them not to speak to you in a certain way, then don't speak to them in a certain way. I think my children have taught me that because they're children, right, I can practice this thing on them. If you want something, you need to embody it. If you want something, you need to embody it. If you want people to be respectful towards you, be respectful towards them. If you want people to be kind towards you, you yourself should become kind. If you want people to show up for you, you yourself show up for them, right? So there's also another thing that Tiamo is teaching me. I was very harsh on Tiamo for the longest time. I was angry, you know. I was an angry mom, and that's just the triggers that I would get at the time from my own childhood child. I was very angry. I was very harsh. I don't think I was as present as I would have loved to be in Tiama's life. Like, actually, when the Tiama started walking, I think 9 months, right? I think Tiamo started walking at 9 months. Like, there's just a lot of sentimental things, memories that I can say I missed out on in Tiama's life because I was just angry. I was not present. I was not a present mom. Was I here physically? Yes, I was here physically. He always had clothes. He always had food. He had everything that he needed except an emotionally available mother, right? Except an emotionally available mother. And that also comes from the fact that, you know, I wasn't ready to be a mom. I was angry at myself for, you know, having fallen pregnant and had a child at that age. And as much as I got to finish school and whatever, having a child was not in my plans. So I had not yet accepted the fact that I now have a child, and now I'm no longer a child. You know, I'm now a mom. I had not dealt with all of that. So I took all of that and I spewed it on him, which was a very unfair thing to do. So that is what hindered me from being a present, happy, kind, emotionally available, grateful mother to him when he was a toddler. And so when I started then to deal with the, you know, with my own things, I started to realize that actually, girl, oropile ngwana, but then having now this thing of saying, I will now fix that, right? I will now do better. Each and every day, I will try and do better. You do the best you can until you know better. And once you know better, you do better. And the thing about knowing better is very hard to go back to the person you were once you know better. It's difficult because now you know better, but you're not doing better. And so if you don't do better, you beat yourself up more. Unlike then, when you didn't know better, it's very much easier to give yourself grace when you know you didn't know better, because nobody teaches us, nobody tells us, guys. Like, nobody tells us these things because perhaps they themselves didn't know. And this is why there's this channel. This is why I created this channel, to just say, if you didn't know, now you know, right? That you need to deal with your stuff. Otherwise, it's gonna spew into your children. It's not a generational trauma, it's not a generational curse or whatever. Is that you don't deal with your things, and then they didn't deal with their things, and then they spewed them into me. Now I'm not dealing, I'm spewing them into Tiamo. Tiamo doesn't deal, he spews them too, and so on and so forth. So this is why there's this channel. This channel is to educate, okay? This channel is to educate and to also just have a sense of community as young mothers. I don't know how long we're gonna be young mothers, okay? But I think we're gonna be forever young mothers. As a generation of young mothers, just to have a sounding board, to be like this, that, and the other. You know, how are you handling it? Did this happen to you? Have you experienced this? So that's generally it. To just be like, I'm here, you're here, let's stick together, let's hold hands and walk together through this journey that some of us was chosen for us, and some of you chose, right? So I'm reading a book now. It's called Childwise. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here's the book. Childwise. This is such a good book, right? It's such a good book. And these are things that our parents didn't do. They didn't read books to try and figure out why we do the things we do, why we think the way we think, and just how our mind works. And that is something that I've decided I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and figure out how these things work. I'm gonna try to optimize my parenting, try to do the best that I can with the tools that I have to raise an upstanding member of the community. You know, it's very, very hard. I think I see that now, right? Because I'm now this person. I'm now back in my, I don't know if I've ever been soft in my life. I don't know why I'm saying back in my soft, but I'm now at a point where I'm just this soft. Not that I don't yell. I yell sometimes, you know. I get triggered sometimes. I get overstimulated and I get dysregulated sometimes, but most of the time I am regulated, right? I'm not perfect. Most of the time I'm regulated, and I understand why Tiamo is such a hard child. I did that. It's my fault, right? And I am trying my best to undo that, you know. And he's literally mirroring the person I was towards him for the past, I don't know how many years. So now I need to be this person. It needs to be me in order for him to fully get into a sense of, I'm safe with this person, I'm safe with my mom. I need to be forever a safe space for him. I will give him grace for as long as I know that I contributed in some way. I will forever give him grace, and I will forever give myself grace, because I was a child. And when you're a child, you do childlike things. But now that I've grown, I'm taking responsibility of the actions that I made at the time that have put him in the position that he's in. So with that being said, I am really trying my best to correct my mistakes and be there for him and be emotionally available and just be a soft, nurturing, emotionally available mother to him, the same one that I am to Tato, because he does say, you know, you like Tato more, you are unfair, Tato this, but Tato is a baby, you know. There are just some things that I'm not gonna do for you because you're old enough to do them yourself. And some days when I feel nice, I will do them for the both of you. But I'm just trying to teach you so that you can be responsible for yourself, so that you can learn how to do certain things on your own with me not there. That's it. It's not that I will ever stop to do things for you. It's just that I also need you to learn how to do these things yourself. I don't have to wash your socks now. He's 9. I don't have to wash his school socks. He washes his school socks every day. It's just that they don't wear shoes that need to be polished. But you know, guys. So he needs to start washing his socks. Once he's done eating, he must wash his dish in the sink. And then as a pumule, he should know where things sit, you know. However, he's trying to learn how to make eggs, which is a good thing. All of these small little things, you know, if your phone is battery low, you charge it. You don't just leave it there for me to come and find and realize it's low battery and charge it for you. That's your responsibility. If you have schoolwork and you need help, it's your responsibility to come to me and say, Mom, they gave me work at school. This is what I need help with. I'm not gonna search your bag to look for your homework. And if you do not do your homework, you go to school on Monday and you suffer the consequences of your actions. Unfortunately, for every action, there's a reaction. So you need to decide, okay, what kind of outcome are you looking for in this scenario? If you don't do your homework, you know what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen? Actually, you don't know what the teacher do. What do the teachers do if you don't do your homework? But yes, that you go to school, you have to tell your teacher why you didn't do your homework. I think for me that is honestly punishment enough, because the other kids would have done their homework, and you're not gonna feel so good about yourself knowing that you didn't do your homework and you knew that you had homework. Things like that, like consequences that just not letting them do things that they don't get punished, not punished for, but like, man, the consequences that it's you know, if you do this, this is what's gonna happen. If you do that, this is what's gonna happen. That's the kind of teaching or raising that I do now, is to say, if you're not doing this, then this is what's gonna happen. You have a choice. Are you doing this or are you doing that? How na? Whatever you want, really, in this house. It's just a matter of, here are options. Choose one. Choose one option. Right? It's either you switch off the TV and we go sleep now, or I switch off the TV. I'm giving you a choice here. Your choice is you're going to switch off the TV on your own, or when it's time, I come and I switch off the TV. You have a choice, Yahore. If we do bounce today, then we can't do this. You must choose which one do you want. If we buy you a phone and you don't take care of it, we're not getting you another one for the next, until you're a teenager. If you lose your phone now, you're only gonna get a phone when you're a teenager, when you're more responsible. He lost his bike, a brand new bike, like it was a year or 2 years old. He lost his bike. It's been like a year and a couple of months, and we're like, well, there's nothing we can do. You're irresponsible with your bike. You left it there, the gate was open, somebody came and stole it. You were supposed to put it where? At the back of the house where nobody sees it, but you left it on the grass, and somebody says and took your bike. Sorry, we're sorry. I know it's hurtful. I know you're hurting. I know you're sad and maybe angry, and you can be angry, right? But now I'm not gonna go buy you another bike to bet your feelings. No, you were irresponsible with your bike, so we're not gonna just buy you a bike because we know you're sad. You should have done a better job at taking care of your bike. So things like that. So yeah, I see the mom that I am now with Tato, and to be quite honest, because she's also like developing a personality, I can see her triggering me too. And I'm like, so clearly this is not a child problem. It's clearly not a child problem. This is a me thing, you know. So I just need to get into my authoritative state, and my no should be no. I should stick to my boundaries. Otherwise, bazongibela ekhanda. And I don't think it makes it easier that they're gonna be taller than me by the time they're 15, both of them. Cause yeah. So yeah, sometimes everything lies with you. Sometimes everything lies with you, and everything starts at the root. and you are the root. If you let them get away with smaller things, they're gonna get away with big things. So don't let it get there. Don't let it get there. Apologize when you're wrong. Reflect when you need to reflect. If there's any type of help that you need, you ask for the help. If you need to go do some research, you do the research. If there's anybody else that you can ask for help from, you do that. You do that. You do everything necessary to make sure that your kids turn out okay. You don't have control over that. Yes, that's true. But you have a say to an extent, right? You have a say to an extent. You have a chance to an extent. Hore ha e fitla ko nakong ela e leng gore ha o sana hore o ka reng, e be le gore you have embedded the right message in them. And in doing that, in raising your children, in being stern and in being firm and authoritative and the head of the house sometimes, or the neck of the house sometimes, please remember that you're also the mom. Like, you must be able to juggle between being strong and fiery and also soft and welcoming and gracious, and give them grace where they deserve grace. And be stern and firm when you need to be stern and firm, when you need to stand by your boundaries. Anyway, thank you for coming to another installation of a bunch of kids playing house. I think I'm gonna finally name it A Bunch of Kids Playing House, because I'm just a girl raising a girl and a boy, and we're all just a bunch of kids playing house. Happy Saturday.